Hello friends of YouTube. Today I'll be uploading my first video of reviewing anything, and today I'll be reviewing a game which is called Duke Nukem Forever. The reason I decided to do a review of this game is because this is really one game which is very special in the sense that it took 15 years to develop and come out to the general public. So that is something like half of my life, and in a way I cannot believe that I have actually got a hand on this game and is actually playing it, and actually, to be honest, at the point when I'm making this video I have actually finished the game completely one time. So anyway, the reason I decided to do this video is because I think there is very wild speculation as to how this game is, whether it's good or bad. Very few times you'll find a game which has taken 15 years to develop. So is this a good or bad game? The reviews are there in the internet, and they really swing wildly from this extreme to that extreme. Some reviewers have reviewed it and given it 2 out of 10, some 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, to as high as 8 out of 10. On the other hand, I have seen that in Duke Nukem forums, which is the Gearbox forums, the fans have usually given it a rating, usually somewhere between 8 and 10. So what is the truth? I think the truth lies somewhere in between. Let me at this point be very clear that nobody has paid me to do this review. So there is no real need for me to suck up anyone's ass. There is no need for me to lie. This is a review that is my own personal review based on what I have played the game, and as I said, I have finished the complete game before I decided to make this review. So what is the truth? Is it a game which is worth 2 out of 10, or is it a game which is worth 10 out of 10? I think it's somewhere in between. The game has some plus points and some negative points. Let me first start with the reviewers, the professional reviewers reviews, which gave them 2 out of 10 to somewhere between 8 out of 10. The first thing I think as a gamer I or you should question is, why such wide discrepancy in the rating system? Why is that some reviewer is giving it 2 out of 10 and some reviewer is giving it 8 out of 10? Why is that? I think it is because many of modern day reviewers have actually grown up by reviewing the game, which are basically identical to each other. They have two weapon system, the duck and cover system, and instead of holding the gun like this, you actually hold the gun like this, and it becomes something extraordinary cool and evolutionary or revolutionary according to them, and they call it iron sights. And I think many of these reviewers have actually grown in their writing career by reviewing the same type of games, which basically, as I said, just employ the duck and cover system and iron sights. So basically you just go into a level with some objective, you finish the level, and you got to rank up or level up, and basically the reviewers are reviewing the same type of game again and again, and suddenly they see a game which is completely different from this type of games. And I think this has actually caught many reviewers with their pants down. They're out of their depth, and therefore some have whinged that and complained that this actually is a game which feels like you are playing a game from 12 years back. And some have said that this is a game only worth for 12-year-old kids, because taking a piss in a toilet or throwing crap in the wall is something only which a 12-year-old will enjoy. It's true in some ways, but it is also true that taking a piss in a toilet or throwing a crap in the wall is not essential in the game. Those are just extras, and if you don't like it, you can completely avoid it and you can concentrate on the main game. So I think those reviewers who concentrate primarily on little bits of nuggets on the game and nitpick it and say that, this is what you are just throwing crap in the wall and therefore, you're not mature enough. I think they're not reviewing the game. They're actually nitpicking the game. They're actually missing the real game, which is something more than throwing crap in the wall or pissing in the toilet and stuff like that. So I think perhaps they were trying too much hard and trying to show that they have matured while missing the real sense of the game. So I think that's why while some reviewer has given it 2 out of 10, some who has got a bit more understanding of their game has managed to give it 8 out of 10. But what is the truth? I think the truth lies somewhere in between. I do think now that I've finished the game completely that it has some good points, of course. The fanboys on the other hand will say, this is a perfect game, it is 10 out of 10 game or 9 out of 10 game. I don't really think it's a 9 out of 10 game or 10 out of 10 game. Personally, I would say it's somewhere around 8 out of 10 game or maybe 7.5 out of 10 game. The game does have some good points, different unique type of maps and level designs you can say that you cannot find in any other modern FPS game. From something like a desert level to under the sea, ocean level, then there's a burger joint, then there's a kitchen, and there's strip bar, a bit of road action in Las Vegas, then there's an alien hive and stuff like that. The Duke cave in which you go in something like a Batman cave, something like that, you have a Duke cave and stuff like that. So the level design is very unique and very different from what you can see in modern FPS games, in which one level is basically identical to the next level and basically there's nothing really new. This game actually has something which is completely different as compared to modern games. It's no wonder that some reviewers have complained that this feels like an old age game, because I think they were completely surprised by it. So what is this game? Would I recommend it or not? I will say whether I recommend it or not, I must first tell you there are some positive points and there are some negative points in this game. As I said, the first positive big point is the unique different type of level designs, as I just said earlier. The second good positive point is that the game actually has different levels of pacing, so it's not just, doesn't feel throughout the game in the same way. In some of the maps you actually have to solve the puzzle, and therefore your pace in the game actually slows down, so you actually have to solve the puzzle to move forward to the next game, to the next level actually, and therefore the pace actually slows down. Whereas in some maps there is actually intense combat situation with pickups literally jumping on you from all directions. So the pacing in this game is absolutely unique. In some places you actually have to solve the puzzle to move forward. In some places you are actually reduced to a tiny little duke, and when you are suddenly faced with this thing that you are a very tiny man and you have opponents who are just like the normal opponents become giant, huge size to you, it becomes a different ball game altogether. And suddenly the opponents whom you are killing very easily beforehand, but now that you are a very tiny man and the opponent has remained normal sized, they become giants to you, and then you have to actually find out how to kill them and what to do to finish the level. And this is something that any other modern game doesn't employ. And of course, any other modern game would never have a strip bar in which you can go and tip a stripper and say shake it baby, and for them to shake your tits. So there's something very unique that this game has that any other modern game doesn't have. So so I'll say the positives in this game are the various unique levels of environments you have, and that the game basically takes you from one level to another level. It's really enjoyable. The different type of pacing, and of course the giant boss fights, they're very good. And what else? It's pure fun actually. I'll say something that is absent in today's modern games. The negative points of this game, I'll firstly say, is the graphics. The graphical standard does look like that it is coming from something like, say I will say 4 or 5 years old. It looks a bit better than 3D Realm Soul game, Prey, which is released in 2006, but it is no match to Crysis, which was released in 2007. So the graphics definitely looks dated by any game released in released this year, such as Bulletstorm and stuff like that. It definitely doesn't look as cinematically good as any modern day Call of Duty game has. So I will say the graphics is one negative point, but having said that, I must also say that, as I said, the game looks marginally bit better than 2006's Prey, which is not extremely bad graphical standards. Surely you can, or at least I can, tolerate this standard as long as the game is fun, and this is what this game is all about. The other really funny thing about this game is that this game is the first Duke game after Duke Nukem 3D, and it decided to restrict Duke to only 2 weapons at a time. And maybe the George Bouchard of 3D Realms, who used to be the creative director in the game, decided to or maybe thought that if we can employ the Call of Duty system of 2 weapons at a time, the game will sell like hotcakes. I do think it doesn't really, the 2 weapon system doesn't really work with this game very well. Of course, after a certain time, because it's a long campaign, it's a 17-hour campaign, you do get adjusted to it when you don't feel it anymore. But at the very beginning, you do feel, that, come on, it's a Duke game and you need all those 10 weapons, but unfortunately it's limited to 2 weapons. So that's another negative point in this game. And funnily enough, Duke, who is supposed to save chicks from from the aliens, doesn't actually save one single chick throughout the game from aliens. He does save one chick from a falling elevator and one chick from getting electrocuted in some kitchen, but he doesn't save one single chick from the aliens. So, but he does plenty of alien ass kicking, make no mistake about that, and it's plenty of fun to do it, shooting at the pickups and stuff. So overall, I think this game is a very good game. It's a very funny game. You'll have plenty of good time playing this game, and if I have to recommend that game, I'll say yes, I'll recommend this game. But at the same time, if you are one of those persons who prefer Call of Duty type of games or Gears of War type of games, and I know there are millions out of them who prefer and like their Call of Duty and Gears of type of games, I don't think this game is for you. So save your money and invest your money in those type of similar games. On the other hand, if you have an open mind and you don't mind a bit of old style action in which it's just you, there's no duck and cover, you just fight. Just take a shotgun and fire it straight into your opponent's face. If you're that type of guy, if you prefer that type of action, if you like giant huge boss battles, I think this is a game that you'll absolutely love and enjoy. Overall, I'll recommend this game, but I do think that, say for example, if you are a console game player, it's a good idea for you to get an idea yourself by renting the game before you actually decide to buy the game probably. Otherwise, no point in complaining afterwards. So I think instead of letting other reviewers spoon feed you with their ideas that this is a great game, 10 out of 10 game, or this is a shit game, 2 out of 10 game, and trying to spoon feed you their ideas, I think you should play the game yourself and make the decision yourself. I played the game myself, and my honest review is it's a very good game. It's a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 game. But of course, I'm not a person who really enjoys playing repetitive type of shooters, and therefore I absolutely love this game. If you are one of those types, definitely go ahead and buy this game. Don't worry about the reviewers' reviews. Otherwise, if you like Call of Duty type of games, Gears of War type of games, I don't think this game is for you. Save your money and buy something that you actually like. So that's all from me here, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any further questions, please ask me and I'll try to reply back. So have a good day. I hope you enjoy my first video. Bye.